I had no intention of recording this video right now, but I was driving down the road and I was like, okay, something popped in my mind that was very important. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a video about this. So here we go. Everybody should know by now that the Sarasota housing market has completely shifted in the buyer's favor. It is a buyer's market 100%. But there's one determining factor that you should be looking at to tell whether or not you as a buyer is going to get a good deal on the house that you're looking at. That is the seller of that house. They're in one of two categories. Either they have to sell or they would like to sell. So let's go over the have to sell part first. A seller that has to sell is selling because of a life circumstance. They're either moving for a job, they got divorced, they lost a job, or something of that sort, okay? In that situation, they have to sell, right? So they're going to price their house correctly, or they're going to reduce it to where they can actually sell it, okay? That's buyer number one. Okay, buyer number two, the I would like to sell. Okay, that buyer doesn't need to sell. They would like to sell, but they're only going to sell if they get their price. They may reduce it a little bit, but they have no intention of actually reducing it to the point where it sells if that means that they're going to reduce it by a lot. Okay? Those buyers don't need to sell. There's probably no loan on their property. They can afford to pay the carrying costs. They can afford to pay the taxes, the insurance, the HOA dues, the utilities, the potential special assessments, the maintenance and upkeep. There's no pain involved. Therefore, they don't have to sell. Moreover, they may be located somewhere where they can seasonal rent their house, like somewhere on Siesta Key. They may not be using it, but they can seasonal rent it, which means they can rent it 3 or 4 months out of the year and probably make enough money during that time frame to cover all their expenses for the entire year. Also, they may be using it themselves. So there's not a real demand in that situation for that seller to actually sell. So you as a buyer, if you're looking at a property like that, you're probably not going to get a good deal. That's just how it works. So that dovetails with the point that I've been making in my previous videos, and that is there's certain areas that are holding their value more, and those are areas where snowbirds are buying. Those are areas where seasonal rentals are taking place, like Siesta Key, Longboat Key, Nokomis, Lido, places like that, guys. That's why those properties are selling for more money, because they're holding their value because the sellers aren't reducing them like they are somewhere like Lakewood Ranch, where not only are a lot of those sellers having to sell because they're moving or they're getting a divorce, but they also have a loan. So those are that's completely a different situation that you as a potential home buyer need to identify. And you know, I used to think that it was a stupid question to ask somebody, why are you selling? But you know, given the market conditions we're in now, it's a totally valid question. Because if you're looking at a property and you're wanting to get a good deal, you kind of need to know the seller's situation. So that's just a quick video I wanted to do. And I think it's very basic. You know, why do you have to sell? But it actually is the determining factor on whether or not you're going to get a potentially a good deal as a buyer. Because in this market, you should be looking at getting a good deal because we have a lot of supply right now. So I hope you guys found value in what I just said. Hope you guys have a great day. God bless.